Hello my sons, this video was a slightly impromptu video just because on TikTok there is a content creator who I have disagreements with, but I do respect them. And I looked at their age because they had gray hairs and I was like, how old is this person? And then I found them on their state registry. Turns out they have a net worth of $1 million, apparently, according to their registry. The numbers might be skewed, but regardless. It got me thinking because I was like, I'm not sponsored by anything. Right? I use Aquasana to, have a shower head filter. I'm not sponsored by them. It's like I talk about ice cream for bears in my video before as a very clean, healthy alternative ice cream. Not sponsored by them. Talked about NeuroGum. Not sponsored by them. Seems like everyone on TikTok's sponsored by them, but I don't have enough followers yet, so darn it. But, when it comes to YouTube and sponsorships, I've never seen a content creator just flat out do this, where they talk about products that they're not sponsored by, and yet, may or may not use in their daily life. You know what I mean? Can you imagine a content creator where they'll, sponsor, I don't know, Raid Shadow Legends, a MOBA game, but, not actually play it? I mean, I don't know anyone who's played Raid Shadow Legends. I've never played it. I've seen ads for it, though, like crazy. But when it comes to food, as you can see by the title, I'm a bit of a snacker, sure, but I'm also a health nut, so I try and keep that in mind. I like low-ingredient things. I'm not really keto. I'm not really, paleo. I'm not really anything in that regards. I just believe in low-ingredient foods. So even though, Slim Jim follows me on TikTok, which Slim Jim, I don't mind being sponsored by you if you're watching this. You kind of seem to be everywhere on TikTok, but when it comes to you, I don't know what your ingredients are. I've never even had a Slim Jim. I just appreciate the fact that you are, an omnipotent being on TikTok that comments on pretty much every viral video. I don't know whose job it is 24/7 to scroll, or if you're just a humble meat stick behind a phone screen, but I just want to make that very clear. That my integrity is for sale, but I got one thing that I really want that would actually make me, and it's not money. So, that in mind, guys, let's talk about some products. And I think, speaking of meat sticks, let's talk about Chomps. Now, I would like to be sponsored by Lineage, but I don't actually have anything from Lineage, and before someone makes it political, there are certain things that I agree with him, Paul ND, I think his name is, and there are some things I don't agree with him on. For example, just so I can clear the air real quick, aluminum that's digested versus aluminum that is injected. He talked about aluminum foil, and I'm like, okay, but if it's digested, it eventually has to pass your gut. So it's it might scratch your insides, or you might get, a few pieces, but eventually your body will pass it through the digestive tract. The gut is, in my eyes, essentially the second brain. Whenever you're sick, you have a stomach ache, you have, gas, diarrhea, whatever. So, in that sense, I was like, that's a little weird. But he does have a good product, and I would be honored to be sponsored by him, and if he wants to correct me, go for it. I'm open to discussion, and that's the healthy part. That's a mental health part, where it's sit down, relax, be open to a discussion. Now, Chomps, on the other hand, these are actually in Sprouts, and they are 10 grams of protein per 100 calories? Yes. And they use, celery powder and sea salt, cultured celery powder, sea salt, cherry powder, black pepper, red pepper, garlic powder, so on and so forth. Basically, this is clean, grass-fed protein. And I think they taste good. I like these. I actually eat these. And if Chomps ever sponsored me, I would do a challenge in a video where I just shove as many of these meat sticks in my mouth as possible for maybe a year's supply. I mean, honestly, I don't even think it's about the money at this point. I'm on food stamps. I'm just hungry. Anyway, so yeah, Chomps. I'd go for Chomps. To be a little more broad, I think Sprouts has some of the best products, and I live 5 minutes from a Sprouts. I got this bread today, actually, and if you notice the yellow sticker, Sprouts does this thing that people in Italy do, where it's they have one-day-old bread, And basically it's like, oh, the bread's about to go bad. We better sell it for like dirt cheap. And then this way, like, people get bread cheap. And then on top of that, you know, it's bread. Like, most bread, at least in the States, still has a chemical compound that is heavily put in yoga mats. So, yoga mats, I don't understand how one led to the other when it's just like, I mean, you can make bread out of lectins, you can make bread out of, like, cultivated yeast and flour and other enzymes and all that other stuff, but why yoga mat stuff? Who was it? I think the Food Barbie or the Food, I forget who it was, but regardless, so I looked into that more and I was like, wow, we really don't have clean bread here. Sprouts does have clean bread, in my opinion, right? Again, this isn't to attack anyone on what they currently eat. This is just what I use. So please keep that in mind in the comments section, okay? We cool? Great. Love you all. Anyway, what does my cat do? Hey, Leo. No. Get down, bub. Anyway, so I don't know what my cat's getting into. So with that in mind, let's go into things that I do occasionally find in Sprouts that I do occasionally get. Mind you, I'm on food stamps right now, so I had to actually hold these for a while. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best, so I do apologize for that. Actually, who am I kidding? It's my living quarters. I'm not, like, you know, hoarding this on purpose. It's just, I wanted to make this video so I had some kind of integrity. So, these two chip brands. These probably are my favorite brands in terms of chips, if you want low ingredient chips. Let's start with Siete, right? Now, I don't need to tell you that this, you know, Siete is Spanish, but it's also family-oriented. The Garza family, and, I mean, it's potatoes, avocado oil, white vinegar, distilled white vinegar, sea salt, serrano powder, and citric acid. Now, citric acid, to me, is a mixed bag, because sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It just depends, because citric acid is derived from the mold of lemon, which is fine in that sort of instance, but it's in, like, everything now, so I don't know, like, I don't know when it's, like, just manufactured to a point where it's not good or not, but in all honesty, like, I mean, other than that, I think they're good. I don't feel terrible after eating it. So, you know, that in mind, I don't think it's that bad. Now, with that in mind, same thing with Boulder Canyon. Let me tell you, 3 ingredients: potatoes, avocado oil, and sea salt. You can't get much simpler than that, and I'm dead serious. So, the best part about this is the serving size ratio with these chips. Now, most chips, the serving size ratio is a set amount of calories to however many chips. I think, if I remember off the top of my head, when I worked at ShopRite, they had Doritos, the nacho ones. It was like 8 chips per 260 calories, if I remember. 230 calories, I think. These, on the other hand, are 15 and 14 chips per 140 calories and 160 calories, which is really good. That means you get more chip per serving size. So, I think that's really good. And again, with Chomps, that also is a good ratio, at least to me, where it's like, oh, it's 10 grams of protein for 100 calories. That's amazing. So that's one of those things that I look over on top of clean food, where it's like, okay, how can I maintain a calorie deficit or surplus, depending on if I'm bulking or cutting. Right now, I'm supposed to be cutting, but, you know, I wanted to make the snack video, so I decided to, I started to bulk for a little bit. But, that in mind, let's talk about, this one. Okay, now, this brand is very interesting, very new on the scene. Hue chocolate, done by a sibling, yeah, 2 siblings. Yep, Jordan and Jessica. So, simple ingredient chocolate. These were buy one, get one. Sorry, I have like a stuffy nose. I got an air purifier in here too. totally stole that from my parents, so don't tell them. Anyway, so these chocolates, honestly, they taste great. Low calorie ingredients, or low in calories and low ingredients in comparison to other chocolate brands, we'll say. I mean, I could make a health tip on like the whole flavonoids and cocoa beans and all that other stuff, or how chocolate is good to have a little bit before bed, or whatever. There's like so many health tips in terms of cocoa beans that we just don't commonly know. When I was younger, my regular doctor told my mother that it was okay to have chocolate before bed because of a recent study, and I was like, what? And then she looked at me and she said, don't think about it. So, that's beside the point. These are a little pricey, but right now they are buy one, get one free at Sprouts, which is why I have 4 of them for the sake of this video. I've had this for, I think I have one like a week, like one a week, so I've had these for 4 weeks. Wow, I said just got them in Sprouts, but I got them 4 weeks ago. I have no perception of time here. Anyway, Who is a wonderful product that I would endorse. I don't reach out to these companies. I don't have a brand. I don't have subscribers. I don't have a, I don't even have an Amazon affiliation link, which I probably should have made for this video, but I didn't because I realized I want to have a little bit of integrity. Once I'm monetized on YouTube, I'll probably put an affiliate link in videos if I do like branding stuff, right? If I have an Amazon affiliate link, I think it would be very good. Because gamers deserve to be healthy. And I think that's something that I try to remind each gamer as they watch, whether if you're watching me on the treadmill, you're watching me while you're doing some push-ups, or if you're just watching me on the TV while you're playing games or, something else. I encourage all of my sons to do stuff. And the reason I say sons is because, well, 1, my ratio is more on the male side. 2, I watch One Piece, and, Whitebeard really resonated with me because I once wanted a family with someone, and now I realize I could just make my own family out of my phone. And look, we all got skeletons in the closet. But that's for another day. Let's talk about the next brand. Oh, now this one of my favorite drinks to have for fun. This is essentially my soda. Let's talk about Synergy. They're a kombucha brand. Now, kombucha, for those of you who don't know, is slightly alcoholic. But if you're a kid, you can have it because it is like 3% alcohol. The only reason they have them in glass bottles is because the alcohol would eat at the plastic, so it doesn't make good for longevity of a certain product, because then, and with the microplastic issue we have already, it just wouldn't make sense. So, you won't get drunk off of these. I just want to make that very clear. There is... Is it this one that has the alcohol content? Which one has the alcohol content? Is it this one? Huh. Maybe I was mistaken? No. Okay, yeah. Anyway, regardless of that, that's just because they're fermented. So when something's fermented, it's gonna be fairly acidic, or I guess alkaline in the sense, because again, these are prebiotic, probiotic, all that other happy crap. Basically, your gut microbiome. And since the gut, essentially to me, when I've researched it, it's kind of like the second human brain, in my opinion. Now follow with me here. When it comes to gut health, when you get sick, you have an upset stomach. You go to bed, you ate too many fatty foods, you get heartburn. You maybe have, you're lactose intolerant. Well, guess what? That milk has to go through your stomach. So, when it comes to gut health, I think it's just like a mucus buildup in the stomach that kind of just either needs to get out one way or get out another way. That's how I look at it. I'm not a doctor, but, again, I base this off my own research, my own time that I put into this, because I thought about being a doctor. Because, I don't know, it was, like, medicine is something that's so, but then the more I dug into the history of it, the more I realized that it's not a business that I would ever want to get into. But let's talk about this flavor right here, the cola flavor. Now, the cola flavor, it tastes like Coke. Or, so according to my one friend, Dr. Pepper. And again, have I ever had a Dr. Pepper? I don't think I've ever drank a Dr. Pepper. Anyway, they said it tastes like Dr. Pepper. I don't know. Never had Dr. Pepper. Point in case, I see this as like my Coca-Cola. And I only have this ever sparingly, but it has reishi, chaga, and turkey tail mushrooms. And for any of you who are like, mushroom freaks or anything like that, this is like really good. Reishi is very good for like brain health as well, along with lion's mane. Whew. But I will say reishi mushrooms, like if you get raw reishi mushrooms or reishi mushroom extract, it is pricey. I would love to get that. I really would. But this is probably my second favorite flavor. It's their spring edition, so I think that just means that it's only in the spring, which... Oh crap, I gotta see if there are any more out there. Anyway, yeah, it's like lavender, jasmine, maki berry, and what was the last one? What was the ingredient list? Violet. And, yeah, elderflower, jasmine, violet, and maki berry juice. And a 30-day ferment. Yeah. So these are fermented. These are genuinely fermented. So they do have a small alcohol content. But again, these are fine for kids. And in Europe, they actually do let children at a certain age have a little bit of wine at dinner just to teach them, alcohol usage and like the appropriation of it, making sure that it's fine. And here in America, that'll get you in trouble. But I look outside of my American bubble because I don't want to be ignorant when it comes to certain things. Just because I feel like it's important that we as one race, the human race, take in the aspects of everyone into consideration, right? Where it's like different cultures, as much as I don't want them to be kind of distilled, I would love to learn from each. Like the other day, I think I saw this one white girl doing a workout with an African tribe. It was probably the hardest looking workout I've ever seen, which reminds me, I have to try that. Not joining an African tribe, I probably would like to join Shaolin monks before that, but the workouts, I saved the workout, it was really cool. That aside, let's see here, there's also this other kombucha brand that is popular, but it's like, I don't see this as much because Synergy kind of just takes over a little bit. So if these guys can mass produce this a little more, or have a few more flavors, I think they'd be fine. This one is my favorite of the bunch. It's the passion fruit tangerine. And of course, it comes in a nice glass bottle. So, if you guys reuse your glass bottles for certain things, I reuse my glass bottles because I have a juicer. So, that's my thing. That in mind, guys, let me know what products that you would think would be good with this, because, as much as I would love to get a Kangen water filter, or, be sponsored by Lineage or something like that, where it's like, these products are really, really good, or Aquasonic even, I don't know how to even go about asking for a sponsorship. I can get an Amazon affiliate link, probably. But I would like to wait until I'm monetized on YouTube for that, just so that I already know, okay, there's a steady source of income. I see myself as a brand at that point. And of course, my integrity. I don't want you guys to think that I'm just trying to sell you these products without me using them. These are empty bags. I've kept these here for a week. This one is still being used, the Chomps. And these chocolates, I've had these for 4 weeks because there was a sale on them. So, do with that what you will. Alright, guys. And, of course, also, one more thing. If I'm ever sponsored by a company that has something in it that I might not like, or might be something that's damaging to one's health, I want to have enough integrity to at least tell you that. Where it's like, okay, this has phthalates in it, or this has... I don't know, microplastics, or this has PFAs or something that could cause cancer, because you know Chobani yogurt is in a lawsuit right now for their phthalates in their yogurt. So, okay, like we get it, but I mean, when I see this like radioactive shrimp thing at Walmart, for those of you who aren't in the West, Walmart just had their whole radioactive shrimp thing, and it is. I'm seeing a lot of memes about it, but that's beside the point. In any case, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'd give a health tip, but honestly, the only tip I could say is try and incorporate some of these healthier snacks in your life as sort of a substitute for maybe something that, I don't know, you already use. So I would say instead of one brand, try another, just because. And also Slim Jim, my son, I am so sorry, I've never had a Slim Jim in my life. I don't even know what it tastes like. I don't know what ingredients are in it. I don't know what your calorie ratio is to protein, so I can't even give a good, bad, or anything else like that. I just know you follow me on TikTok because I know you're everywhere. I love you regardless.